Greetings, Alvis Tinen here. The Way of Victory, 50 plus years of martial and healing arts training. I want to shout out my son, Billion Dollar Visions, for his technical expertise in creating this site and helping to propel the movement. The Way of Victory is a movement and you're a part of it. There are over 400 or 500 instructional videos on my site. I'd like you to like, subscribe, share, and more importantly, I'd like you to practice some of the techniques and methodologies that are there so that you can benefit from this information. My goal is to really help people to become winners and help myself to become winners, because keep this in mind. When I talk, I'm talking to myself first. The way I talk on this site and the quotes I leave every day are quotes that I utilize in my life. It's like food. I'm serving you the same food I eat, but I eat, everybody eats. So I want you all to really take this and treasure it as I do. Now today I want to talk to you about consistency. Consistency is a very important aspect for anything you want to do in life. You be consistent. One of my quotes today was, it doesn't matter how fast you go as long as you're going forward. So even the smallest movement in the right direction can break the inertia of stagnation. For instance, I used to tell people that didn't do anything just to do one push-up a day, one squat a day, one sit-up a day. Just one, and one. And be consistent with that for 21 days and then build up from there. So the consistency is what breaks the inertia and breaks the stagnation. The history is full of people conquering through consistency, conquering through turning the adversity into a seed or an equivalent or greater benefits. For instance, the great Michael Jordan, he was cut from his high school team. Many people would have quit. They would have quit from there. Maybe that basketball is not for me. He certainly had that option, but he continued. He continued to practice. He continued to get incrementally a little better and a little better. And we all know the story of Michael Jordan, arguably one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived. Definitely up in there. Thomas Edison. Many of us are familiar with the story of Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, they say he failed 1,000 times, and some people say 10,000 times before he could create the light bulb. But he framed it in such a way that he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I actually discovered 1,000 ways that it's not going to work. So I'm pretty close to getting this thing figured out. The consistency of continuing to move forward. And the rest is history in that case. And history's full of it. You probably have even some examples in your own life where you pushed through, where you just kept going further and further. When I learned Tai Chi, which my instructor at that time told me, there's 3 rules in Tai Chi. Practice, practice, practice. I've continued to use that in my training my students as well. I always tell them, there's 3 rules. Practice, practice, practice. And that's what you want to do. The consistency is what does it. Like in my case, with these 50 plus years, it's day by day. It's not that I just got a chunk of 50 years at one time. It was day by day. I have to go every day, but I have something in my brain that tells me I have to do this every day for the rest of my life. And it's like a program in my head, and I feel like incomplete if I don't do it. It's like the rent. I was telling my son today, I can't go off yesterday's workout today. I have to work out today to get past the day. And I put that program, I was blessed to get it in my head way back when I was 15. And I started doing karate at the time and practicing and trying to meditate as well. And reading about the history of martial arts. I was just obsessed with it. But I told myself, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. Something in my head that came. It was like a program in my head that came, that I'm going to do this the rest of my life. So far, so good. 50 plus years and counting. And as I was 15, I was just practicing everywhere I'd go. I'm practicing. So some of the older guys, 18, 19, 20, they'd look at me, because of course I'm 15, I looked like I was 12 or 13. So they probably thought I was younger than I was, but they said a couple instances where people would come and say, "Oh, that's cool. You're into karate." Yeah, I used to do that when I was your age. Or I used to do that when I was a kid too. And a voice would come in the back of my head, and I'd say to myself, "I'll never say that. I'll never say I used to do this. I'm going to continue with this and be consistent through my life." This was 1972. As I kept hearing it, 1973, 15, 16, 17, I would always say that. Anytime someone would say, "I used to do that," I don't have to say that. I don't say I used to. I do this. And the consistency, the daily practice is what gets you where you want to be. What they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Forward ever, backward never. They say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that elephant is going to be eaten. But you can only do one bite at a time. But the key is to be consistent. You see, and you look at nature, we look at our bodies. The heart is beating all the time we're alive. When we sleep, when we wake up, when we're moving around, we don't think about the heart, but it's consistent in its palpitations as it circulates the blood through the body, going to the bottom of the feet and the top of the head. There's so much going on consistently in our bodies. As long as we're alive, it kind of stops, from my understanding, when you die. But until then, it's consistently moving. It's consistently operating. So consistency is in nature. That day and night happen. It's going to be winter and summer. The seasons happen. Time is relentless. Time goes by. So to master time, we have to be consistent in some things. And as we choose those things to be consistent in, outside of things that we might feel we have to do, like most people have to work to get money to pay their bills. But for yourself, you want to look at things that you can build consistently, good habits that you can develop, and you start small, and then you continue to grow and develop and improve. There's tremendous power in being consistent, and it doesn't have to be a lot, especially at first, because you don't want your mind to rebel against you. You want to trick your mind by making it so small that your mind will agree, and you won't have those voices telling you you're too tired, Don't even listen. Set the goal and achieve the goal. And remember, any action will break the stagnation that is holding you back. Everything is difficult until we do it. Once we do it, it's not difficult anymore. Action many times alleviates anxiety. Anxiety comes about many times because we're thinking about what we have to do. But when we go ahead and start doing it, the anxiety is alleviated because now there's a different energy that's going on. So I wanted to just kind of share with you my thoughts on consistency today, and to remind you to be consistent in everything you do, and to be consistent in your goals, plans, and objectives in your life, and encourage you to go to the site and pick out some of the videos and begin to consistently practice some of those methodologies. Again, thanks for being a part of this, and never forget, you're born to win.